Hi, my name is Whitney, and I am a free Black woman living in Dubai. I'm originally from New York City, where I worked in mostly Brooklyn-based nonprofit child welfare organizations, foster care and foster care prevention. Majority of my clients were Caribbean and or low-income families. My focus was maintaining the safety and well-being of the children in those families. Last year, July 2014, I made the decision to transition into a more educational setting. I was hired to be the school counselor at an international school in Doha, Qatar. I worked there for a year. It was amazing. I learned so much about myself professionally and personally. It was overwhelming and exciting and horrifying and fun, all of the above. I wouldn't trade that year in for anything. And that's what motivated me to sign on to a new position in Dubai this year as the school counselor at an all-girls international school. So far, it's been incredible. These girls have certainly given me a run for my money, but I'm up for the challenge, totally. Participating in the Women's Freedom Conference is extremely important to me, not only because some of my dearest and loveliest friends are also participating and or coordinating, but also because I feel like I have a really unique perspective to offer, considering the past year and a half I've had. I've definitely learned a lot. I've learned a lot about myself as a woman, and some of the strengths and weaknesses I have being placed in some really unique and unexpected circumstances, facing people that I've never faced before and experiences that I've never had before. So I really wanted to offer my perspective and experience in this amazing forum, and hopefully it could be of some use. It could be a way to shed some light on a part of the world that not a lot of people get to experience in their lifetime. So I'm excited about this. I wanted to start this talking about the best part of being a woman, but there's no real way to identify that for me. Like I don't have a specific area or experience or ability that makes me like, yeah, it's the best part of being a woman. Sometimes it's not even something I really think about during my day. Like I'm pretty unaware of how special and how powerful it is to be a woman. I definitely know that I've always been aware of there being a power in it, but I never really tapped into it until I was pushed to my limit. Like this past year has definitely been really stressful and a huge test for me. And I think that a lot of the things that I learned as a child growing up in a majority female household has really supported me and made sure that I was able to maintain my belief system, my morals, my values, my focus, being raised by really strong Caribbean women. And that's definitely something that I held strong to during my year in Qatar. Cut that last part out. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing at this point. Like, I'm just gonna keep recording and hope for the best. My God, this is bad. Like, holy shit. Anyway. Okay. What to say. It is 11 o'clock at night. Can you cut all this out? Oh my God, it's like 40 seconds of nothing. I don't know where to start. I really enjoy vacillating between being coy and flirtatious, but strong and unwavering at the same time, or when I choose to be, adhering to gender roles and demolishing them when I feel like it. I get to sashay through life, getting my nails done, going shopping with my friends, and then shaping the minds and futures of young women in my school. So I feel like both tasks make me feel powerful and unstoppable. And not to say that that's something that is unique to women, but it's just something about it that makes me feel even stronger than other people. The most important part of existing for me is being able to feel free. I believe that being a woman, there are a ton of restrictions and expectations and preferences and things that are inflicted on us and expected of us just based on our gender. And it's something that I rail against a lot of the time, and sometimes I go along with it because it's just easier to do it that way, the expectation, and it's just easier to follow through with the expectation and to fight constantly. But as long as I feel free in my choices, that's what's most important to me. This past year, I injected myself into a culture where I anticipated my freedom being tested just based on the knowledge I had of the culture, or the stereotypes that I had in my mind. I wasn't even aware of the fact that there were preconceived notions until they were being like busted in front of me. Like I was like, oh, that's not true, and oh, that's not true at all. And I'm meeting all these strong, powerful Arab women, students of mine, young women, older women, women my age. Like it was just an overwhelming exposure to a lot of things that I didn't know existed here. The most important thing to me is my culture. I am first generation born in America to Trinidadian parents. My Trinidadian heritage is so important to me, and I didn't realize how much of me it encompassed until I arrived in Doha, and I automatically became just American because that was the only passport they had of mine. I owned two, but they only wanted the one. And it was jarring and sad and really striking to lose that part of myself when I came here. It made me fearful that I would lose myself because such a large part of me had been essentially eradicated. In America and in Trinidad, I'm surrounded by what makes me feel free, like what makes me feel like me, my friends, my family, my culture, my norm, like the places I like to go, the things I like to eat, the people I like to see. I get to choose my environment every single time. Even my work environment, I was surrounded by like-minded people who looked like me. I worked with people who looked like me. I worked with first generation born in America, Brooklyn kids who are trying to find their way in this new country while trying to maintain the values and traditions of their parents' country. It was always very profound and important to me, and to come here and initially feel like I lost it was terrifying. I spent the first 2 months just kind of in bed, really depressed, really sad, really scared, and questioning my decision, feeling like I had abandoned my kids, the kids that looked like me, for kids that were nothing like me. But as time progressed, I realized that that wasn't the case, that I had just traded kids that were trying to maneuver through this world under old world structure with new world rules. It was just a different context, a different culture. Like the Arab world is not that far removed from, my Trini culture. Like there were a lot of similarities that I found that were really striking and interesting to me. Moving to Doha with the idea that I couldn't be who I was just because they didn't recognize all of the factors and characteristics that made me me, kind of made for a really difficult transition. Like I just felt like I needed to sweep my hair back into an obedient bun, rinse the New York accent off my tongue, the Trinidad off my skin. I just had to become blank slate, like a safe Negro. Like I had to become the safe Black girl. Like I wasn't too Black, I wasn't too ethnic, I wasn't too cultural, I didn't have too much to say. Like I just tried to mute and adjust. And I'll never forget, before I left, my roommate told me before she left, she's from Venezuela, her parents told her, Mariana, be careful, because she's so friendly and so loving and so open. My family told me, Whitney, be quiet, listen, observe, and then speak and react, because they know me. Like I I come into a room and just start making noise. And in this case, I didn't feel like that was an option, but for the wrong reasons. I definitely didn't have a good game plan when I came into it. So I just kind of felt like I had washed everything off of myself that made me me, and it made me so uncomfortable and so unhappy at some points that I almost regretted my decision of moving there. In my new decision to come to Dubai, I'm not even sure what motivated me to do it, but I made a commitment to myself that I would redefine myself and establish my womanhood in this new space where I wouldn't allow external aspects to truly affect what made me me and how I presented myself and all the characteristics that I love about myself, despite people's obvious discomfort at times, and despite the cultural dissonance that did occur. Not to say it never did, it definitely did. But here I am now, Dubai, hair wild, sharp tongue, just bold in my special brand of beautiful. Like I'm unapologetic about it, and I feel like that garners a greater respect than trying to falsely fit in or falsely mold and bend around what I think is making other people uncomfortable. I have to establish a respect for my difference and who I am as an individual, and it's really important. And it's something that I learned and understood from the Arab women that I encountered and interacted with. Like, they were so enthusiastic and excited to teach me about their culture, and they wear their traditional garb, they wear the things that are expected or what they want to wear, and they do it unapologetically, they do it fearlessly, they do it with the highest form of respect for themselves and their families. And it's something that I admire, and it's something that I want to walk through my life doing. It may not look the same for me, but I definitely want to be fearless and unapologetic about who I am, what my values are, what's important to me, and how I present myself to the world, and having the world understand what my beauty is and respect it. The most important part of this experience that I'm living and will be living for the next 3 years is the exposure to a culture that felt like planets away from my own. We had an international day last year, and we were supposed to rep our nationality and our culture, and I was like, neither of my cultures are seen as acceptable in a lot of ways. Like, it's like haram, haram, haram. Like, all of it's like, no. Carnival, no. America, it didn't feel like it fit in. But as I spent more time here, the more welcomed I felt. Like, it was this exchange of information, exchange of ideas, and an understanding and a respect for where I am and where I've come from. My students have been so key in exposing me and raising my level of tolerance and understanding of what true diversity is. And I'm beyond humbled and honored to be a part of their journey and their lives, and kind of building them up and adding my interpretations and perspectives to their lives. I couldn't ask for a better position and a better job. I am beyond happy here. They taught me that, the constructs of freedom in a different context, like what it looks like, and that freedom in America doesn't always necessarily convert to what exists in the Middle East, but it doesn't mean that freedom doesn't exist here. And that's what I came in here thinking, like different jokes and comments made when I told friends and family that I was moving here, and I bought into it, a lot of it. Like, a lot of it I did kind of feel in the back of my head, like, ooh, is that what I'm coming to? Like, is that what I'm going to be living in? But the people here, the women here, constantly present themselves as beautiful, complex, unique, and empowered people. And every day they dispel the stereotypes that exist about them globally. And I have the greatest respect for that. And I hope that I emulate it, and I hope that I perpetuate it, and I hope if and when I do return to the United States, that I continue it and I allow it to shape me in a way that will really raise me to an elevated level of existence, like where I can just feel even more amazing and empowered and confident about myself and the work that I do in this world.